Alrighty, welcome to my third ever art commentary video. In this video, I'll be commentating on 3 artworks, one by Mixie, one by Feptic, and one by Ball. So, let's go. Firstly, let's talk about Mixie's work of art. So, as you can see, starting off, just right off the bat, composition's a little funky. If I go ahead and turn on my guides, then as you can see, we have multiple focal points here. Got one here, one here, one here, and one here. That's not bad because, I mean, it seems like they were just going with this kind of going downward composition. But it does seem like there's a lot of empty space over here and over here that should be filled. Maybe I was thinking of some kind of framing, like trees, because it's obvious that they're like in some kind of sunset. Or at least Bright Bomber is. As for the ninja here, maybe you could do something like a street light or moonlight reflecting off of a lake or something. But yeah, just like somehow fill this empty space with something, because it is very obvious that it is very empty and it draws your eye away from the two obvious characters. Because secondly, there are some odd design choices. I can't tell if like a mistake happened over here on this side and you just tried hiding it by making her turn this way, but like that's just not it, Chief. You should have her look the same kind of direction as Kuno, sort of in that general direction but still looking somewhat at the camera. And if it was a mistake, then you know you can just like reset all the bone changes that you made by using Alt G, Alt R, and Alt S for move, rotate, and scale respectively. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that's probably what happened, because there should be like some kind of brow right here and there isn't. This is sticking out awkwardly and it isn't, and this is like looking very weird. And additionally there's like this red spot. It's like this red right here, which should not be there. And I don't know, that nose looks kind of funky to me, man. Besides that though, interesting design choice to have that do that. What I would have done is just do something kind of smoother like that. Also subdivide your polygons. Hello. This drop off right here is like excruciatingly obvious if you look at it. Even from far away, it's obvious that this is like being affected by something. So subdivide your polygons and then you'll be good. And then that wouldn't be even be an issue. So this is just sticking out of nowhere. You should probably not have that stick out of nowhere because it's going to look very strange. Besides from just my general nitpicks, there's some clipping going on right here, right here, right here. And I also can't tell if this is an image or not. It doesn't look like one, but I guess the contrast is so stark between like this kind of sunshiny little area over here and then this kind of moonlit area over here and then still sunshine over here, that the fact that it's so dark is jarring. So like maybe decrease the contrast on that a little bit. So yeah, aside from general nitpicks, there you go. For posing, I kind of already touched on this in my general nitpicks, but have a better line of action. You have one great going on here for Kuno, though you could exaggerate it a little bit more by doing something like that, but for Bright Bomber, it's just kind of straight. So fix that somehow. What I would do is like tilt again, move her face so that's some 3/4. What I was trying to say was rotate her head at a 3/4 angle, similar to how Kuno's is, and then you'll be pretty much set. You should raise her clavicle more. The clavicle is a bone that sits right around here, and you should raise it more so that instead of this like flat thing, it should be like a little bit more bumpy. As well as that, move her shoulder to be more facing this way, or not facing. Move her shoulder to be more this way, because right now it's sort of going through Kuno's jacket, and obviously you want to avoid that. Also, you have wind coming from 2 different directions. You've got wind coming from here, which is causing this to move, and then you've got wind coming from here, apparently, which is causing this to move. So like, what the heck? Pick a struggle, man. As far as face posing goes, I like what you did over here. Personally, what I've done is make her look at the camera more. Have her irises be like that, but you know, your choice. I do like how you have her eyebrows sort of in not a calm, perfectly calm expression, but you know, I guess inquisitive would be the right word. But as for her, yeah, as I said before, you've got some weird stuff going on over here, so fix it. Alright, as far as lighting goes, I really like it. Especially, like, I guess, for someone of your level. This is, like, really good. I love it a lot. I like how you incorporated rims over here, and the blue, and then the orange over here. More blue down there, and then orange rims along there. However, that's not... I just realized that's not actually orange, it's more of a yellow. So, okay, if you're gonna use orange and blue as your color scheme, then actually make the lights orange, not this weird yellow. As well as that, I would recommend strengthening the rim on this side because the contrast is currently set on her jacket, not her arm. Or shoulder, I should say. So, fix that too. And additionally, personally what I would do is try and increase the contrast on her mask sort of thing because it's not dark like her hair is. It's sort of like mid, I guess, which could easily blend in with any background that you choose. So yeah, I would recommend strengthening this a bit more. Additionally, again, as I said before, lighting's really good on this side. However, I would recommend adding stronger rims along her hat, Kuno's arm right here, and I guess maybe, yeah, making this a bit more exaggerated. I guess you could do more rims on top of her hat if that's like where the light is coming from, because as far as I see it, I see light coming from these directions and over here as well, sort of up here, as well as like sort of from the camera, but that's besides the point in talking about rims. So yeah, I guess just accentuate those rims that you currently have and add more to increase the contrast. Overall, I award this artwork orange and blue rims out of 10. Next up, an artwork by a user named Feptic. First, general impressions. Basic composition choice. I do like your semi-color scheme, if that's what you want to call it. You've got red right here. You got your use of red, and you've got your use of like grayish black, and I like that kind of contrast. So, because black and white will go with any color, and congratulations, you chose a color, so good job. However, I do have, as always, some nitpicks to make about this piece. This is a weird effect. I can't tell if this is like the sword and it just cuts off like that. Because as you can see, the blade starts like over here, goes up, and then just stops right there. And I feel like that isn't what should be happening, even considering that it is a little blurry. So yeah, that's a little strange. It also doesn't have any reflections. It's like someone painted over it, besides this part right here, which, again, a little strange. Her neck, that is a very weird little cut right there. You probably don't have preserve volume turned on, in which case, turn on preserve volume. Additionally, I can't tell where her leg is going. It looks like it's going, like, down and then up right here, or maybe this is her left leg and the other leg is like hidden behind here. I really can't tell, so you should make that more obvious. Alright, posing. So posing wise, you did the grip thing right here really well, and I do appreciate that. However, you don't have a very good line of action. I guess it's a little bit obvious that there's some kind of movement because of how her arms are, but it would look something like this, and that's not really curvy, so again, just make it smooth. Do something, maybe tilt her head a bit the other way. This would like look a little bit better if you like moved her head that way a bit, rotated it, I mean. But again, your choice. Just make it be obvious there's some kind of line of action. Also, questionable idea on not moving her clavicles. At least at this angle, I can't really tell if you moved her clavicles. Again, the bones are right there. But it does look like there's this weird shape, which should be more round if you had moved her clavicles so that there would be less deformation. But if you did move her clavicles, then my bad, I digress. But if you didn't, then do that. interesting design choice to make her arm do that rather than do something like that. So, because the deal is, if you have it all straight like this, then at least in drawing, you have to have some kind of tilt between the body and the character's neck so that it looks, you know, a bit even. But clearly you don't have that going on here, and in my opinion, it's not as important of a rule, especially for 3D renders, because that'll just happen naturally if you have a good line of action. But I thought I should mention it because it's really straight here and it's leaving the viewer away from the main focus, which is clearly like this entire render. Face-wise, you have this bone moved a little bit too far down, so it's creating this little shadow right there, and you need to fix that. Besides that, I guess choose a better face angle, because this sort of polygonness, you can tell it's like just going right through her face. You could fix that a little bit if you brought the cheekbone out more and rotated it so that it would cover this area like that, like how a mask should. But if that's, I guess, not possible, then yeah, just pick a better angle for her head. Okay, lighting time. So lighting, I mean, pretty mid, I have to say. You should have rims along here if there's rims coming from here, here, and here. So add rims there, add rims here, add stronger rims here, add stronger rims on her hat and along her gun and along her arm as well. It seems like you have rims, they're just not strong enough and they're not capable of creating contrast. I guess on her leg you don't really need them, but it's still a good idea if you have like a dark background to have rims along her leg, so do that. I guess just general lighting wise, it's not that bad. You have shadows, however, I would recommend increasing the contrast more or turning down the world ambient shadows threshold so that the shadows are darker and it's more obvious where your key light is, because it just looks like it's coming out of like everywhere. Overall, I award this artwork Sweaty Fortnite Skin out of 10. And lastly, we have an artwork by a user named Maul. So yeah, let's get started. Firstly, whoa, are you using Eevee? Because it sure looks like it. You are. You should be having shadows here, and there aren't. You should be having shadows here, and there aren't. You should be having shadows here, and there aren't. Here, more here, 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 here. I guess more right there, here. And I can't really tell besides anything else besides that. Is that like a thing she's sitting on? Yeah. Clearly there's not enough. You didn't turn on ambient occlusion. So make sure you turn ambient occlusion if you're gonna use Eevee, or just use cycles, because Eevee is, I guess, more complex in what it has to offer. And also make sure you have contact shadows on your lights turned on. I don't really know much about Eevee besides that, but I guess change around the bias so that the contact shadows actually like do something. So that was general impressions. Pose time. I really like your poses. You have a pretty clear line of action and you've got some contrasting lines going through it. So good job. However, just personally, I guess I would make the line of action more obvious by tilting her head more that way, and also fixing this like weird little jump right here, because it curves really nicely and then it just like jumps right here, and that is very strange. That could be a result of you moving the foot bone rather than just using the bone right above it, the foot twist or leg twist, whatever it's called. So yeah, utilize that if you're having trouble getting the shoes to sit on the ground, but at this angle you don't really need them to sit on the ground, so you can like have it do whatever and it'll still look good. I guess what I would also do is have her shoe not do something like this, how it's looking right now, because if you look at it, if I were to look at it from the top, looking down at it like this, then I would probably see something like that, and that is not what you want, especially at this angle. You'd want to just have it more relaxed, because it looks like she's in a pretty relaxed pose, and she's just kind of chilling, and there's no reason for that to be happening. Also, good job moving the clavicles, from what I can see. besides this little like weird drawing thing there. You moved her clavicles down and you created this sort of contrast right there. The line thing that I was talking about earlier. Doing that, and then still having her, I guess, invisible waist, be like that. So again, some amount of dynamics with lines going on. So good job there. But yeah, face posing wise, she isn't looking at the camera. Her irises, were I to make them a little bit bigger, where they are right now is not looking at the camera. What I would have her do is instead move this a bit more this way, and then move the other one this way. So then it would be more obvious that she's looking at the camera. Or maybe not even that far up, just like right there. Yeah, that seems about good. That's where I would put the irises. If you can copy that, then do that. But also you can just click R on your keyboard to rotate it with all the overlays turned off, so you can see like actually where she's looking more clearly. I'm not getting a expression from her. She just looks, I can tell you moved some bones right here and you made this like go upwards a little bit, but it's not really conveying an expression, if you know what I mean. So I guess pick an expression reference to go off of and then try copy it as best you can so it's more obvious what she's thinking. Lighting wise, I do like the lighting. Again, I like your weird futuristic backgrounds. I am not sure what this is right here. So I guess get rid of that if you can. And additionally, I guess don't make this reflective, because I had initially thought that, this was like, I don't know, some kind of ligament of arm or something that she had on her, but that's not the case. So make it solid, so that the reflection like isn't there, or at least like increase the specularity as well as decreasing the roughness. Also bevel this so it's not as sharp right here. Stronger rims along here, along I guess on the back of her more. Here, actually no, that's actually pretty good. So do this definitely, but like along here and here and here and here. Wherever we have these like really soft lights, you need to strengthen them more, because as you can see, like it's green. Her jacket is green, and it's kind of blending in with the green of this little cube right here and the green of the background that you have. So yeah, make sure that it's well defined. Alrighty, so here you can see I was trying to figure out a pose. I had one in mind already, but I didn't know how well I would execute it, so here I am just trying to figure out a good pose. Here I did incorporate the line of action and the contrasting lines that I had talked about earlier, as well as using the drawing technique that most 2D artists use, with having different lines for the shoulders and the waist, going in opposite directions. So I use that as well. I also made sure to have a visible facial expression. Due to the angle, it was difficult to actually see this, but I ended up changing the spine a bit around and trying to figure out the best angle so you can see that. Additionally, I made use of the metacarpals here because those bones are very important if you're going to try and use fingers like I did in this pose. That's the part where I started modeling props. So similar to how Maul was incorporating props into their design, I thought it was a good idea to incorporate that as well. I eventually had to change up the way I shaded it due to it just not looking like a spider web. So I added some textures later on, and you'll see this in the end result. Again, if you're going to model props like this, make sure you subdivide your polygons using the subdivision surface modifier. I ended up also sculpting it just to make sure it would additionally fit it with the character, and also I applied the subdivision surface modifier because I needed more vertices. To work with than just the ones that I had modeled. So I applied it and then added another one. Here you can see I was trying to make a dynamic line for this web of string. I did have some struggle sculpting it due to the amount of vertices, but it ended up not being too much of an issue. I also messed with the focal length a little bit because I wasn't happy with how it was before. Here we get into lighting, so I was going for a more orange and blue, similar to the original the first render by Mixie. I was sort of inspired by that, but I ended up color correcting it so it was more red and blue rather than orange and blue. The reason I did this was because I was inspired by the fact that Arachne has red paint on her armor, and I thought that would fit better than just a tinted orange. I made sure to add strong rim lights here so that she could really stand out from whatever background she would be placed in. This is the part where I also started messing with the hair to make sure that it had the flow to it and that it was clear that she was, you know, leaning to the side. I then went into the compositor node and did a pre-render of my project so that I'd have a viewer node to plug into when I did my compositing. Here I wanted to really bring out the rim lights, so I increased the gamma for the highlights and the saturation and contrast. I also messed with the RGB curves for the red and blue areas so that it could really be obvious that it's red and blue. Again, I re-added the subdivision surface modifier to the web of string. And there it is. Thanks for watching. Really hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll be quick to upload the next one, but yeah, just don't expect anything.